Also joining us to discuss the government's latest attempts to control the internet is Seton Motley, editor-in-chief of StopNetRegulation.org. A guest so intimidating, he scared away our other guest. Joining me now to discuss net neutrality and the government's latest attempts to regulate the internet is Seton Motley, editor-in-chief of StopNetRegulation.org. And I have to say, we wanted to have another guest during the segment, Corey Wright of Free Press. And at the last minute, she decided to decline to appear on a panel simultaneously with Seton Motley here. Apologize if there was any miscommunication there, but it certainly says something about Seton if he's such an intimidating guest that representatives of Free Press, and I had originally thought it was Craig Aaron who didn't want to appear on a panel with you, but our guest here, Seton Motley, is apparently so intimidating that we couldn't get any representative from Free Press.
I think they know that. I don't know. I hope. I don't think it's. Yeah. I passed.
I passed the smell test.
I don't know what the problem is.
All right. Well, the case for net neutrality is one of the things we had hoped to hear from the other panels, because it's something that you oppose, a specific kind of regulation. And I should just explain that what they're trying to do with net neutrality is ensure that companies are not able to charge based on usage fees. Sounds like a good idea, right? I mean, they've got 2 million signatures for their petition at SaveTheInternet.com.
Which is a fraudulent tally, but okay. They take every signature from every petition they've ever had and add them all up.
Ah, okay.
There was a story, it was a great story by Mike Riggs at the Daily Caller, where he actually called some of the signatories, because a lot of the signatories on the last letter they sent were like the Dr. Pepper Museum in Texas. And this is my favorite, Operation Catnip, which is a spay and neuter place in Florida. And you're like, what do these have to do with public policy? So Riggs called these people and said, what do you know about this letter? What do you know about net neutrality? My favorite quotes were, a lot of them were like, I didn't really know about this letter. I didn't sign on to it. I mean, I vaguely kind of know about net neutrality, but not really. They signed a petition online somewhere.
Let's get to the heart of it.
But the point of it is, the guy from Operation Catnip said, listen, I can't talk to you very much longer. Friday's spay day. And I really am focused on that, so I can't talk to you about net neutrality right now. So these are the 2 million supporters Free Press is getting.
All right, so net neutrality.
Yeah.
It seems like there is a genuine public sentiment of support behind it. Whether or not they have 2 million signatures, there are people on the internet who are saying we need this. But it seems to me like kind of a typical liberal mentality of saying, heaven forbid we pay for our usage. Let's force corporations, let's force the people who are providing us with a service to take care of us a certain way. Let's use the government to demand something from service providers. Is that a fair characterization?
It's fair, and it's bizarre, because it's not just that they're attacking corporations, it's crony capitalism. They're favoring some big corporations at the expense of others. AT&T, Verizon, Comcast, who provide the backbone and build the backbone for the internet, are getting slammed by net neutrality to benefit companies like Google, who, by the way, remember how we all heard how great Obama's 2008 online presence was? It was run whole lock, stock, and barrel by Google. It was a Google online operation. So now Google wants the net neutrality there, so as they start using more and more bandwidth, the companies that build the bandwidth can't charge them more, which at the end of the day hurts the consumers that Free Press and company are supposed to be helping, because the only people left to charge, if they can't charge the people using the broadband bandwidth, is us.
Well, it sounds like the crony capitalism part is kind of a byproduct of the government intervention, as it
well, that's what crony capitalism is. It's the government saying, I've got buddies who are corporations, and I'm going to use my power as the government to help them and hurt their competition, their opposition, people who are in their way of them making more money.
So you're saying that with net neutrality, with this kind of government regulation, what we'd end up with is barriers to entry into the market.
Absolutely.
And a stifling of competition, which is so essential for the internet.
Right. It's dramatic. There's a term called sunken cost, which is cost you have to dump into a business that you won't get, it takes you forever to get back. Basically, you can't make it back because it's so big, and that you can't charge the rates that would make it up instantaneously. It takes a long time.
Okay.
The sunken cost for internet is huge. Building pipes, digging the holes, it's very expensive. So by raising this threshold, you're really limiting the number of companies that can invest to the degree.
That's a scary prospect, because when I think of these economic issues all the time, I want, well, what would it take for a new company to jump in here? What would it take, you know, for like Facebook, for example? There are a lot of people who go, oh, well, Facebook is bad because, or YouTube, any site that really dominates the niche of the internet. Well, there's Vimeo, there's, not really MySpace anymore,
Right.
but, there is that competition. So if Facebook got to the point where it was too onerous in its violations of privacy rights, there would always be that competition. And it's the same thing with service providers. It scares me a lot to hear that there's going to be that barrier to entry in the marketplace along with this kind of regulation.
They did it with the December vote at the FCC on wired broadband. They went back and got, and Free Press and Company went nuts because they didn't hit wireless hard enough. So last Thursday, they went back and voted themselves, they inserted themselves into the data roaming process for wireless companies, which they're going to price cap what companies that have built networks can charge to lease.
All right, well, I got to put you on the spot here for just a second, Seton, because you're not for a completely unregulated market, but in the case of the internet, you are. And there are people who would have to say, well, where do you draw the line? If you say that there should be no regulations whatsoever on the internet, but there should be some in the economy at large, what is the role of government in the economy in general, and why do you cut out the internet?
Well, I don't cut out the internet. What I don't want is any internet-specific laws like net neutrality. There are plenty of laws on the books right now to deal with someone like an internet service provider blocking content, which is the alleged problem, which doesn't exist. For net neutrality to exist, is we're going to stop the ISPs, internet service providers, from blocking content. Well, there's all kinds of unfair trade practice laws, all sorts of things like that. At the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission, at the Department of Justice, there are existing statutes that deal with bad business practice. You don't need any internet-specific laws. You just need bad business practice laws, which already exist.
Just like you don't need an Internet Bill of Rights or Privacy Bill of Rights. We've already got the Bill of Rights.
And all you do is add more and cheapen the original Bill of Rights.
Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for having the courage to at least be on TV and face anybody that might disagree with you and stand up for what you believe in.
I'll do it again if they want to.
Right on. That was Editor-in-Chief of StopNetRegulation.org, Seton Motley.